The notification lit up my phone at 2:47 a.m. Ring doorbell. Motion detected at front door. I wasn't expecting anyone. My wife Sarah was asleep beside me, or so I thought. I grabbed my phone, squinting at the brightness, and opened the app with that drowsy confusion you get when something feels wrong but your brain hasn't caught up yet. The video loaded in grainy night vision, and there she was, Sarah, standing on our porch in the clothes she'd worn to bed, talking to someone just out of frame. Her body language was all wrong. Shoulders curved inward, hands wrapping around herself like she was cold or scared or both. She kept glancing back at our bedroom window, the one I was currently staring out of into darkness. I looked at the empty space beside me. The sheets were still warm. My heart started doing that thing where it beats in your throat instead of your chest. I watched her on the screen as a hand reached into frame. A man's hand, definitely a man's hand, and touched her face. She didn't pull away. She leaned into it. The timestamp said this was happening right now, this very second, but I couldn't hear anything through our closed bedroom door. I was watching my wife have a secret conversation on our porch through a camera we'd installed 6 months ago because of package thieves. And the irony wasn't lost on me even through the shock. Then she did something that made my stomach drop into my feet. She pulled her phone out, her other phone, the iPhone, not the Android she carried everywhere, and held it up to show him something. He leaned in close, too close, reading whatever was on the screen. And then he laughed. I could see his shoulders shake with it even though there was no sound. Sarah looked back at our window again, fear flashing across her pixelated face, and said something that made him step back into the shadows. But I wasn't ready for what I'd discover when I checked that phone, because the man at the door wasn't the betrayal. He was just the messenger. The front door opened, closed, the soft pad of her feet on our hardwood floors. I shoved my phone under my pillow and pretended to be asleep, controlling my breathing like my life depended on it, which in a way it did. She slipped back into bed, and I could smell the cold air on her skin, mixed with something else. Cologne, maybe, or just fear sweat. She thought I was asleep. She thought she'd gotten away with it. I laid there until 6 a.m., not sleeping, just thinking. Running through our entire relationship like I was searching for clues I'd missed. We'd been married for 8 years. Together for 11. High school sweethearts who'd beaten the odds, or so everyone said. We had a beautiful home in the suburbs, good jobs. I worked in IT management, she was a nurse practitioner, and we'd been trying for a baby for the last 2 years. That was the plan. That was supposed to be our next chapter. But every plan has a fault line. Mine just happened to run straight through my family tree. Let me take you back to understand how we got here, because nothing happens in a vacuum, and this story started long before that ring notification changed everything. Sarah and I met when we were 16. She was the new girl at school, shy and brilliant, with this way of seeing straight through people's bullshit that I found terrifying and attractive in equal measure. I was the tech geek who could fix anyone's phone or laptop, which made me useful if not popular. We bonded over being outsiders in different ways, her because she was new, me because I was nerdy, and it grew from there into something that felt inevitable. Like we were always supposed to find each other. Her family situation was complicated. Her mom had died when she was 14. Cancer, aggressive and cruel. And her dad had remarried within a year to a woman named Patricia who Sarah despised. I'd met Patricia exactly twice in 11 years, and both times Sarah had spent the week after shaking with anger. The woman was cold, calculating, and had apparently tried to erase every trace of Sarah's mom from their house within months of moving in. Sarah had left home at 18 and barely spoke to her father anymore. It was one of the few topics that could make her cry even years later. My family, by contrast, was suffocatingly close. My parents lived 20 minutes away and expected Sunday dinners every week. My older brother Marcus was married with 2 kids and lived in the same neighborhood. My younger sister Emma had just finished college and was constantly at our house, treating it like her personal hangout spot. Sarah had absorbed into this chaos with grace, becoming the daughter my mom never had, the sister-in-law my brother's wife actually liked, the aunt my nieces adored. But there were cracks I didn't see. There are always cracks. Emma had always been dramatic, emotional, impulsive, the kind of person who felt everything at maximum volume. After she graduated, She'd gone through a brutal breakup that left her devastated, and Sarah had been her rock. They'd spend hours together, talking, shopping, doing sister things I didn't pay much attention to because I was grateful Sarah had someone in the family she connected with so deeply. Emma started staying over more frequently, sometimes 3 or 4 nights a week, sleeping in our guest room because she said her apartment felt too empty and sad. I encouraged it. I thought it was healthy. I thought it was helping Emma heal. I had no idea I was funding my own betrayal with spare bedroom space and emotional support. The baby thing had been hard on both of us. 2 years of trying, 2 years of failure, 2 years of watching Sarah's face fall every month when her period arrived like clockwork, mocking us. We'd done the tests. Everything was fine medically, we were just unlucky, the doctors said. Keep trying. Stay positive. Like it was that simple. Like hope didn't erode a little more each month. Sarah had started pulling away from me around month 18. Subtle at first. She was tired, she was stressed, she needed space. I gave it to her because I loved her and because I was tired and stressed too. We stopped having sex as frequently. We stopped talking about the future. We just existed in this holding pattern, waiting for something to change, not realizing it already had. 3 months before the Ring notification, Emma had asked to borrow $5,000. Her car had died. She needed a new one. She was broke because she'd been job hopping and couldn't get approved for a loan. I'd said yes immediately because she was family and because $5,000 wasn't going to break us. Sarah had been quiet about it, which I'd interpreted as agreement. She'd always been the more financially cautious one, but she loved Emma. Of course she'd want to help. Emma bought the car, a used Honda Civic, sensible and reliable, and promised to pay us back within 6 months. She paid back exactly $0. But she did start showing up at our house even more frequently, often when I wasn't home. I knew this because I could see it in our security system logs, the ones I monitored obsessively because it was my job and because I genuinely enjoyed feeling like I had control over something in my life. Looking back, I should have questioned why Emma always seemed to arrive during my work hours and leave before I got home. I should have wondered why Sarah stopped mentioning these visits. I should have paid attention to the way they go silent when I walked into a room, or how Sarah's phone was suddenly always face down on surfaces, or how Emma had started acting weird around me. Guilty, almost like she couldn't meet my eyes. But I didn't, because they were my wife and my sister, and it never occurred to me that the 2 people I trusted most in the world would have any reason to hide anything from each other or from me. The first Real crack appeared 2 weeks before the Ring notification. I was doing laundry, Sarah's laundry specifically, because she'd been working doubles and I wanted to help, when something fell out of her scrub pocket. It was a note, handwritten on a torn piece of paper, folded into a small square. I almost threw it away without reading it. I almost didn't betray her privacy like that. But something about the way it was folded, deliberately small and hidden, made me unfold it. Don't tell him yet. Not until we're sure. I'll handle it. Trust me. C. A. Emma. Don't tell him what? Sure about what? Handle what? I stood there in our laundry room, holding my wife's scrubs and this cryptic note, feeling the foundation of my life shift just slightly beneath my feet. The rational part of my brain supplied innocent explanations, a surprise party, a gift, some sort of intervention for my workaholic tendencies. But the animal part of my brain, the part that lives in your gut and knows things before you're ready to admit them, started screaming warnings I refused to hear. I put the note back in her pocket and finished the laundry. I didn't ask her about it. I told myself I was respecting her privacy, but really, I was afraid of what I'd learn if I pushed. So I waited, and I watched, and 2 weeks later, at 2:47 a.m., my Ring doorbell showed me exactly what I'd been too afraid to find. But that video was just the surface. The real horror was waiting in the cloud. I called in sick to work that morning. Sarah left for her shift at 7 a.m., kissing me goodbye like nothing had happened, like she hadn't been on our porch with a strange man 4 hours earlier. The moment her car pulled out of the driveway, I was on my laptop, pulling up every piece of digital information I could access. We had a family phone plan. I managed it because I was the tech person. I had access to billing, usage logs, everything except the actual content of messages, because even I wasn't paranoid enough to install spyware on my wife's phone. But I could see numbers. I could see data usage. I could see patterns. And the patterns were damning. There was a number she texted constantly, hundreds of messages per day, often in the middle of the night when I was asleep beside her. The number wasn't saved under a name in our shared contacts, just digits. I ran it through every reverse lookup service I could find, but it came back as a burner phone, essentially untraceable. She'd been calling it too, short calls, 5 or 10 minutes, always during her breaks at work or when she was running errands. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the data usage. Sarah had been uploading massive amounts of data to cloud storage services I didn't recognize. Gigabytes upon gigabytes, all to an encrypted server that required a password I didn't have. Whatever she was hiding, it was substantial and deliberate. This wasn't casual deception. This was planned, organized, systematic. I checked our bank accounts next. That's when the second crack appeared, and it was a chasm. $47,000 were missing from our savings account, withdrawn in increments over the last 8 months. Small enough amounts that I hadn't noticed them individually, large enough together that we'd lost nearly half our nest egg. The withdrawals were all made from Sarah's access, all transferred to an external account I couldn't trace without her passwords. $47,000. Gone. While I'd been giving Emma $5,000 and feeling generous about it, I was about to discover that my sister wasn't borrowing money. She was being paid. My hands were shaking as I called my bank, pretending I needed to verify some transactions for tax purposes. The representative couldn't give me much information without Sarah present, but she did confirm that the receiving account was in another person's name, not Sarah's. A woman's name, Patricia Reynolds. Patricia, Sarah's stepmother. The woman Sarah supposedly hated. The woman she hadn't spoken to in years. Something in my chest cracked open, and I felt this cold certainty flood in. Whatever was happening wasn't just an affair. It was bigger, more complicated, threaded through with family and money and lies that went back further than I'd imagined. I drove to Emma's apartment without calling first. Banged on her door at 10 a.m. while she was probably sleeping off whatever she'd been doing the night before. She answered in pajamas, hair a mess, eyes widening when she saw my face. "We need to talk," I said, pushing past her into her tiny studio apartment. She tried to play innocent. "About what? Are you okay? You look. The man at my door last night. Who was he?" Her face went white. Actually white like I'd slapped her. "What? What man? What are you?" "Emma, I have cameras. I have logs. I have bank records. I know about the money. I know about the phone calls. I know you and Sarah are hiding something from me, and you're going to tell me what it is, or I'm going to assume the worst and act accordingly." She sat down on her couch, and I watched my baby sister transform before my eyes. The dramatics fell away. The emotion drained out of her face. What remained was someone I didn't recognize, calculating, cold, scared. "She said you'd never figure it out," Emma whispered. "She said you trusted her too much to question anything." "Figure what out?" Emma looked at me with something like pity, which made me want to punch a wall. "You're not going to believe me. And even if you do, you're going to wish you hadn't asked. Try me." She pulled out her phone. Her actual phone, not a burner, and opened her texts with Sarah. Started scrolling. I watched years of messages fly past, thousands of them, until she found what she was looking for and handed me the phone. The text was from Sarah, dated 3 years ago, before the baby trying started, before Emma's breakup, before everything. "I need your help with something I can't do alone. It involves your brother, my father, and a lot of money. Are you in?" Emma's response, "Always. What do you need?" "Keep reading," Emma said quietly. I scrolled through 3 years of conspiracy, 3 years of planning, 3 years of Sarah using Emma to manipulate me, using me to manipulate my family, using all of us to get revenge on her father and stepmother in a way that was so twisted I could barely comprehend it. The plan was simple in its cruelty. Sarah was going to fake infertility complications, drain our joint savings, and use Emma to emotionally distance me from my family so that when she left, which was always the plan, leaving was always the endgame, I'd be isolated, broke, and destroyed. The money was going to Patricia because Patricia was in on it. Sarah and Patricia hadn't been enemies. They'd been partners. But here's the twist that shattered everything. The baby thing wasn't fake. We really couldn't conceive. And when Sarah found out, when the doctors confirmed it wasn't just bad luck, but an actual medical impossibility on her end, she'd spiraled. Because the revenge she'd planned required me suffering from false hope. And now the hope was real, and the suffering was hers too. She fell in love with you again, Emma said. And she was crying now, real tears streaming down her face. That wasn't part of the plan. She was supposed to use you and leave, but she fell in love with you for real this time, and she couldn't figure out how to stop the machine she'd built. The money was already moving. Patricia had already spent some of it. I was already too deep in lying to you, and Sarah couldn't figure out how to confess without losing everything. The man at the door? Patricia's lawyer. She's threatening to expose everything unless Sarah pays her more. She's blackmailing your wife, who was trying to blackmail her own father, using you as the piggy bank for the whole operation. I sat down on Emma's floor because my legs stopped working. My wife, my sister, 3 years of deception, $47,000. A baby that would never exist. All of it orchestrated by the person I'd trusted most, unraveling because she'd accidentally developed genuine feelings in the middle of her con. The question wasn't whether my marriage was over. The question was whether I'd ever really been married at all, that I didn't go home that day, or the next. I checked into a hotel and turned off my phone and tried to figure out who I was without the life I thought I'd been living. Emma called the hotel 63 times. Sarah called 41. I didn't answer. I needed the silence to think. On day 3, I turned my phone back on and found a voicemail from Sarah that was 22 minutes long. I listened to it in my hotel bathroom, sitting on the cold tile, because something about the bathroom felt safer than the bedroom where I'd have to look at the bed I wasn't sharing with her. She confessed everything Emma had told me and more. Her father had abused her financially after her mother died, stealing her mom's life insurance money that was meant for Sarah's college fund. Patricia had helped him. Together they'd left Sarah with nothing, gaslighting her into believing her mother had died with debt instead of assets. When Sarah found out the truth at 23, through a lawyer tracking down her mother's will, she'd already been with me for 6 years, already loved me or thought she did, or something that resembled love enough to feel real. But the rage at her father never dimmed. It burned inside her, she said, year after year, until she couldn't tell the difference between loving me and needing me as a tool for revenge. So she'd built this plan with Patricia, who'd agreed to help expose Sarah's father's fraud in exchange for a cut of what they recovered. Except Patricia was a con artist too, and she'd never intended to expose anything. She just wanted the money Sarah would drain from me, from us, from our life. I don't know when it stopped being fake, Sarah said in the voicemail, her voice wrecked from crying. I don't know when I fell in love with you for real instead of as part of the plan. Maybe it was always real and I just couldn't admit it because admitting it meant confronting what I'd done to you. But I'm confronting it now. I'm telling you everything. And I'm not asking for forgiveness because I don't deserve it. I'm just asking you to understand that I became someone I didn't recognize. And by the time I realized what I'd done, I couldn't figure out how to undo it without destroying both of us. The voicemail ended with her saying she transferred what was left of the money back into our account. $23,000 out of 47. The rest was gone, spent by Patricia on God knows what. But there was one more revelation waiting, and this one came from an unexpected source. My brother Marcus showed up at my hotel room on day 4. I don't know how he found me, but Marcus had always been resourceful. He sat across from me in the chair by the window and told me something I never saw coming. Emma borrowed money from me too, he said. $15,000, about 8 months ago. Said it was for medical bills she was embarrassed about. I didn't tell you because she asked me not to, and because I figured it was her business. But it's been eating at me, especially after you disappeared. So I confronted her. She told me everything. Everything. About Sarah's plan. About how she roped Emma into it by promising her a cut of the money. About how Emma was supposed to drive a wedge between you and the family so when Sarah left, you'd have nothing. Marcus's jaw clenched. She used my little sister as a weapon against you. She used our whole family. Emma paid you back yet? Not a dollar. But here's the thing, I don't think Emma kept the money either. I think Patricia took it from her too. I think Emma's another victim in this, just too ashamed to admit she got played. We sat in silence for a while, two brothers trying to understand how love and family and trust could get so corrupted that you couldn't tell where one ended and another began. What are you going to do? Marcus asked finally. I didn't have an answer. Not then. I went home on day 7. Sarah was there, looking like she hadn't slept since I'd left, and maybe she hadn't. The house felt different, like it belonged to strangers, like I was walking through a museum of a life that had never actually existed. I'm not asking you to stay, she said before I could speak. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just need you to know that what I feel for you now is real, even if it started as a lie. I need you to know I'm sorry, even though sorry is worthless compared to what I took from you. You took 8 years, I said. You took my trust. You took my family's trust. You took our future. You took everything that mattered, Sarah. And you did it while sleeping next to me every night. I know. Do you? Do you really? Because I don't think you understand what it feels like to realize your entire life is a performance someone wrote for you. I don't think you understand what it's like to look at every memory we made and wonder if you were acting through all of it. She was crying, but I couldn't feel sympathy anymore. I'd run out. The worst part, I continued, is that I believe you fell in love with me. I believe it became real at some point. But that almost makes it worse, because it means you knew you were destroying someone you loved and you still couldn't stop. You loved me and betrayed me simultaneously, and you thought you could have both. So what happens now? I'd spent 7 days thinking about that question. 7 days weighing options, imagining futures, trying to figure out if there was any version of this where we survived. Now I take what's left of our money and I rebuild. Without you, without Emma, without anyone who proved they could lie to my face for years and sleep soundly afterward. What about Patricia? What about my father? That's your fight, not mine. You wanted revenge on them so badly you were willing to sacrifice me for it. So go get your revenge. Do it without my money and without me. I filed for divorce the next day. Sarah didn't contest it. Emma moved out of state a month later. Couldn't handle facing Marcus and me after what she'd done. My parents were devastated when they found out, unable to comprehend how their daughter could betray her brother like that. The family dinners stopped. The closeness dissolved. Sarah's revenge didn't just destroy her father. It destroyed my family too. Patricia did face consequences eventually. Sarah went to the police about the fraud, provided evidence, made it public. Her father went to prison for financial elder abuse. Turned out Sarah's mom wasn't his only victim. Patricia disappeared, probably spending what money she'd stolen somewhere warm and extradition-free. Sarah got some closure but no money back and no family left to share it with. I kept the house, kept my job, kept breathing, which some days felt like the biggest achievement. That was 2 years ago. I'm sitting here now in my home office, looking at the Ring doorbell footage I never deleted from that night. I watch it sometimes, trying to understand the moment everything came apart, trying to pinpoint where truth ended and lies began. The devastating thing isn't that Sarah betrayed me. It's that I still love the version of her that fell in love with me for real. I love the woman who existed somewhere in the middle of her con. The one who realized she'd made a terrible mistake, but couldn't find the courage to stop it. I hate her and I love her. And I've learned those two things can exist simultaneously in the same scarred heart. My therapist says I need to forgive myself for not seeing it sooner. But I'm not there yet. Maybe I never will be. Maybe the lesson isn't forgiveness. Maybe the lesson is that love doesn't protect you from betrayal. Sometimes it enables it, makes you blind, makes you an accomplice in your own destruction. Emma sent me a letter last month. An actual letter, handwritten, postmarked from Montana. She apologized, said she's in therapy, said she understands if I never want to speak to her again, but needed me to know she was sorry for what she became. I haven't responded. I don't know if I will. Sarah tried to contact me on our anniversary. Left a voicemail I didn't listen to for 3 weeks. When I finally did, It was 30 seconds of her crying and saying my name. I deleted it. Some things don't deserve responses. The Ring camera is still up, still recording every motion at my door. Sometimes I wonder what I'm guarding against now. What else could be taken from me that I haven't already lost? But I keep it running anyway because at least digital betrayal leaves evidence. At least cameras don't lie about what they show you. The texts destroyed me because they proved the camera only caught the surface. The real betrayal wasn't the man at my door. It was the 3 years of messages planning my destruction, written by someone who promised to love me forever. I don't know what forever means anymore. I just know it's shorter than I thought. Every story leaves a mark. If this one touched you, let the telling tree grow by your like and subscribe.